Hi, welcome back. So I get a lot of questions about certain topics when I do financial presentations, and I'd like to debunk some of the myths that I run across or some of the questions that people have. One of the big ones, of course, that you'll hear a lot about during political season will be a lot of things related to our fiscal responsibility, the ability of the government to corral taxpayer dollars to provide certain benefits and entitlements that we have had voted on in previous legislative sessions that become part of our structure, our culture. A big one is Social Security, and the perennial question that we hear is, will Social Security go bankrupt? I'm going to not really go much out on a limb. In fact, I'm going to hug the tree pretty tightly on this, but I still think I can tell you that the answer to that question is very unlikely. I do not think that Social Security is going to go bankrupt. And here's why. It's really a numbers game. Are you ready? I've got a statistic for you that really makes the point. According to Social Security Administration, monthly payments from Social Security represent more than 50% of the income for 66% of those 65 or older. So more than half the money coming in on a monthly basis for 2/3 of American over 65. It's a lot of them. And that demographic is very, what's the right word? Determined, consistent in their voting. They will vote. They have more time to vote. They're not having to make it there by a certain time after work in many cases. They will do pre-voting, vote by mail if they're going to be traveling. So they're determined to vote. Do you think they're going to support anybody that's going to give any whiff of not supporting a continuation of Social Security? So I don't think it's going to go bankrupt. And I don't think there's any politician as outspoken or as dumb as they may look. They're not going to get on the wrong side of that because they'll be out. And politicians want to be in. That's why they're there. So that's just the political reality. Now, there are some other realities. Number one, if Social Security Trust Fund, which is projected in, I don't know, 15, 20 years, if there's no changes, to run out of money, and at that point, there is enough money still coming in from people paying Social Security to pay for roughly 70 to 75% of the benefits of what's going out. So even if there's nothing done to capture additional revenue to keep Social Security 100% solvent, there's still going to be 75 or so percent of the benefits. Now, to the people I just mentioned, that 2/3 of those over 65, when they see their paycheck cut, that monthly Social Security benefit paycheck cut to which they rely on substantially, they're going to be getting the check, but it's going to be less. Do you think they may, I don't know, pick up the phone? You think that may do something about it? I bet you they will. Now, more kind of obvious solutions that are out there that have been talked about quite a bit, and many of them have merit. Some of them may not be popular, but many of them have merit. To save Social Security, here's a couple of them. Push the retirement age out. You know, for me, it's at my full retirement's at age 67. That might get pushed out to 70. The age at which this would really have a big impact, age at which you could take your benefits the earliest. A lot of people take benefits at 62. It's about half. Why? Because it's the earliest they can take it. That's why. What if we push that out to, say, 64? In other words, instead of pushing out the age for full retirement, how about pushing out the age at which you can take it the earliest? Maybe at 64 or 65. I think 65 would be a good number because it matches up with Medicare, and a lot of people have there's a lot of challenges with health care, people trying to bridge that gap from 62 to 65. So if you pushed out the earliest you could take Social Security, I'm not talking about people who are already getting it. Everybody's grandfathered in. Either they're already getting it or who are a certain age. But to allow those funds to stay in the Social Security Trust Fund a couple years longer would make a big difference. So that's just another idea. What else? You could uncap or raise the wages on which Social Security is applied. 6.2% of a worker's wages go into Social Security. That's a tax that the employee pays. And then another 1.5 goes for Medicare. And the employer matches that. So your employer pays in 6.2% for your Social Security. So they're in part half of what needs to go in for Social Security. They're paying for half of your Social Security benefits that you're going to receive. A lot of people don't know that. And they're also paying for half of what you're going to get out of Medicare. So that 6.2 applies to a specific dollar amount. The 1.5 is uncapped. The Social Security could, with, of course, legislative action, they can't do it unilaterally, it goes through Congress and the President, that could be raised, and that would help with a shortfall to where the 6.2 might apply to a larger dollar amount of wages. You could also make it more harsh if somebody takes Social Security early and is still working and is drawing Social Security benefits. You could change the rules to make that, create a disincentive for that, again, to get people to wait on drawing Social Security if they are still able to work and have income. There are a variety of other things that can be done. You can even limit the benefits that somebody who, once they make a certain amount of income, that they could be, have a reduction in their benefits. If you have a certain amount of income, right now, if you're over a certain amount, then the Social Security benefits you receive are taxed as much as 85%. That could be raised to 100%. It could be raised above 100% to in effect, start taking away benefits. I mean, if you're making $10 million a year, do you really need Social Security benefits? No. I think that's an obvious answer. Now, are you entitled? Absolutely. But we're looking for ways to save it, solve it, keep it for most Americans. And when you start trying to tinker with it, a lot of these options should be on the table. Now, one of the other things that recently, at the time I'm doing this program for you, the Congress and the President, here we go as an example, just made some changes to some of the different filing techniques that are available, especially for couples, where you could do different things as a couple, where you might file and suspend your benefit so that then your spouse could draw off of yours, or you might file for spousal benefits. There's a whole bunch of different combination of techniques that allowed, up until the passage of this legislation, allowed couples to get more out of Social Security. Now, some politicians deliberately called that gaming the system. It really wasn't. It was just using the rules that were available. But again, as a step to save money, as a budgetary maneuver, and as a way that's ultimately going to help the Social Security Trust Fund, these techniques were eliminated. Today, the strategies that are available for couples to get the most out of their Social Security has changed significantly. So if you find yourself looking at that and you're not sure what to do, and again, with all the information out there, plus these changes, really good time to get a double check and to talk to somebody that knows something about Social Security to make sure that you are taking the Social Security in the best way for your particular circumstance. And don't forget, you got to live long enough to make the most of whatever your strategy is. Do those things and you'll plan stronger.